So do you feel like you struggle when it comes to your imperfections? Like you feel like you fall short most of the time? Today we're going to look at how we can find joy when it comes to our imperfections and being content with the things in our life that were not intended to be perfect. So here's the truth about it. We are imperfect beings. And you could think, well, that's common sense. And of course I know that. But there's a difference between verbalizing that and actually internally believing it. We can be really hard on ourselves and have unrealistic expectations and goals can do some real damage to how not only we view ourselves, our self-esteem, but also how our mindset is, along with how we make decisions with every aspect of our lives. We can put a heck of a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we could say verbally, I know that I'm not perfect, but internally, and I want you to ask that to yourself, have there been times, a few or many, over the past 30 days, 60 days throughout the course of your life where I've really struggled with believing the reality that I am imperfect, and that's okay. It's really being in this pursuit of being comfortable with making mistakes. So it's reminding ourselves because if we believe that we have this struggle of being perfect, whether it's with relationships, the roles we play in our life, and we really believe we have this strive of, I've got to do this, I've got to be enough for that, I've got to just having everything perfect. We internalize that, and it creates such a high level of anxiety, and it can really beat us down and do a lot of damage when it comes to how we conduct ourselves every single day, our quality of life every single day. And so it's literally giving ourselves permission to say, I'm going to make mistakes, and saying that out loud. And that might sound silly or trivial, but it's not. Writing it down, putting places on your bathroom mirror, on your steering wheel when you're driving, your cubicle at work, on that cupboard that you go get your snacks at night. And I'm imperfect, but I'm beautifully made. So we can think that imperfections are mistakes or blemishes. They're not. You were made perfectly. You are beautiful and amazing, but until we believe that there's value, that there's substance in our imperfections, we could hear other people say it. I could say it all day long, but it's until you believe it. And I'd say the vast majority of us really struggle with our imperfections, our blemishes, or whatever you call it, as being something of value, where we're like, we could just beat ourselves up with it. And where we're really supposed to be the opposite. These things make us unique. These things add to who we are. So it's kind of twisting things a little bit or adjusting the sails to how maybe we've had a mindset before and to now where it's that reminder. I am an imperfect being, and that's okay. And so I say that with a smile because when we make that decision and that realization clicks, it gets us so far. It really takes a weight off of our shoulders that so many of us are kind of walking around with every single day. And it's this taking a step back, gaining a little bit of insight when it comes to the mistakes we made, and then growing from it, because life is really about growth. Life is the reality that we were made imperfect. Like, we are imperfect. We weren't made imperfect. We are bound to make mistakes. We are bound to fall short because we're human, right? And with that, it's like, I am going to make mistakes, and that's okay, but I'm going to learn from them. And I believe with all my heart, we're foolish when we repeat consecutively the same mistakes again and again. That's foolish, but it's learning and growing that's really part of the human process. Because when we strive for this aspect of perfectionism, we miss out on so much, on who we were really intended to be. And it's like we're trying to have everything just polished and in a state that it wasn't meant to be, we can really be hard on ourselves. It's allowing for room to grow, for our wings to kind of stretch out a little bit, and for us to just learn a heck of a lot and become better people. It's all how we look at it. It really, really is. And it's kind of having this replacement button of like maybe resentment, frustration of the mistakes we've made, imperfections we've had in our life, and using those to say, okay, I'm acknowledging like this mistake I've made, right? And finding ways to improve instead of kind of beating ourselves down, feeling lesser in value, and it's just bloop, flipping it upside down and using these things to say, all right, man, that happened. I did this or I didn't do that. Now what am I doing next? How am I going to be better? And yes, that can be easier said than done, but when we repeat it to ourselves on an ongoing, consistent level, it begins to be absorbed. We begin to believe it. How many years has it taken for that struggle where like, I got to do this perfectly, or I'm going to, do these 10 hats that I wear, I'm going to do everything perfectly. Well, you can't. You absolutely can't. And so what it does, it dilutes our awesomeness. It really does. And it's saying, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm imperfect. And you know what? I'm going to grow. And I'm going to become a better, healthier, stronger person through that process. And that is so amazing. It really is. It's like this, boop, this pursuit that makes us better people. 100%. So if you have struggled when it comes to the aspect of letting go of the concept of being perfect, right? It's having a game plan when it comes to strengthen this now new pursuit of embracing our imperfections and growing and learning from them. But it takes different ingredients. And one of those is the aspect of acknowledging the fact that we just talked about of being imperfect. Another aspect of this is enjoying the ride that we have throughout the course of our lives, enjoying life, right? It's kind of like, I'm gonna use an analogy here, like if you are driving down the road and you have a blindfold on, right? First of all, you're gonna hit something. Secondly, you're not seeing anything around you. You're not experiencing anything around you, and that's such a bummer. That experience is really being withheld from you. Why would you do that? But that's a lot of times when it comes to perfectionism, we are not enjoying the ride when it comes to the things we're experiencing in life. And that really kind of has us missing out on a heck of a lot. Every part of our lives, whether it's a relationship, the simple, beautiful things in life, we're so busy thinking about what we have to do and how perfectly or to what standards we have to do it, we're actually missing out on the present. We really are. It's taking away from what's going on right now. So our quality of living has been impacted. So it's allowing ourselves to say, I'm going to experiences, moments, not goals. So when we get kind of overshadowed by goal setting's great, but when it kind of dictates and takes the wheel of life, we miss out on everything that we're kind of passing and in the moment with. And that is just something that's not worth letting happen. And if it has, you're like, I'm going through that right now. All right, it's right now. You're alive, you're breathing. What are you going to do about it? How can you do a greater job, a more fantastic job of enjoying your ride? What have maybe you feel like, I've struggled with this, I've got to give this up a little bit, and I'm going to start on this new path. And what I always say when it comes to having these changes and adjustments in life, write down what your expectations are. When it comes to the fact of, okay, do I acknowledge the fact that I'm imperfect? How do I do that? And how do I strengthen that? The second thing would be looking at, am I really enjoying the ride that I'm going through in life? Or am I overly goal-oriented? Am I overly focused on making sure all my T's are crossed, all my I's are dotted, and I am not allowing myself to live in the moment? And with that, not learning or growing or rolling with some of the things that we'll see as blemishes or flukes or bumps in the road, when you get a parking ticket, right? You're like, how am I going to celebrate that? Well, it's learning from that instead of beating ourselves from that. Why did I do this? To, I burnt dinner. Okay, so order a pizza or cook up some ramen noodles. It's learning to adjust. If I could tell you how many things I have burnt, whether it's in my microwave, my toaster, on the stovetop, like many things, I could probably write a book about it, right? Did I beat myself up over it? No. It was learning, trying to learn, but life happens, and a lot of times we make mistakes because we're too busy, and I could say that for sure. That happens with me. I'm doing like 8 things at once, and what did I expect, right? Actually this morning, I ran the washer through without clothes in it, right? Because I forgot because I was outside doing something else, and then I ran into the kitchen. Was it the end of the world? No, it was not. And it was, okay, next time I'm putting a timer on, which I'm working on the timer concept of life. But it's learning. It's giving yourself permission. It's saying, okay, that happened. What am I going to do now? It's kind of like that bob and weave emotionally of learning, just rolling with it. And that can be really hard. Man, I super screwed up. Did you super screw up? Or are you going to just learn from it? And sometimes it's just kind of allowing ourselves to just be okay with the things we've kind of made mistakes with. And again, that takes time, and it takes this pursuit, if you will. It's a pursuit. It's a journey. It's not an overnight thing. But to give up the experience of the ride that we have in life, right? The daily, the weekly, the monthly experiences, the memories, it's not worth it when it comes to making everything sure as perfect. Because it can't be. You will always fall short. And it's learning to be okay with where you're at with what you have. And we live in a society that's so easy to get kind of caught up in what we think we're supposed to be, right? Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's with our spouses, our kids, and our neighborhood, whatever it is. And we could think, okay, whose expectations are those? And a lot of times we have expectations that are created by ourselves that are unrealistic and unfair. So it's saying, what are my imperfections? You got a lot of them. We all do. Am I okay with being okay with these imperfections? That's a decision you have to make. I'll tell you, when you allow yourself to go from judging yourself and beating yourself up about it, and instead replacing it with a mindset of, I'm going to do the best I can with what I have and where I'm at. And if I falter and when I kind of stumble a little bit, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to keep going. But I'm going to enjoy life and the things around me. And that kind of goes also with the aspect of allowing ourselves to not just live, but be grateful and absorb what's around us, even when life is crazy. And life can most certainly be crazy, and life can most certainly be really tough at times. But when we have a mindset of being open and willing to accept the fact of our imperfections, it's pretty neat. And it has a whole lot of power kind of driving behind that, because now our mindset is focused on this, and it's learning and growing rather than saying, I messed up. Rather than saying like, man, I screwed up, I burnt dinner, I paid that bill late again, I got a speeding ticket, look at my hair. Okay, things go wrong. Now it's kind of turning that and saying, okay, what's the good out of this? What's the good? What's the positive? Or I'm going to learn from this. Things happen. And again, yes, it's easier to say than believe, but are you saying it? We got to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere, because letting ourselves actually live is one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself. So this really also goes hand in hand with allowing ourselves to be our personal best, where we are not looking and sidetracked and distracted by the performance, the status of other people. We're looking at ourselves. We're focused on us and where we are, what our personal best is, that we're really striving, we're going forward, we're doing the best with where we're at, with what we have. Again, not saying I'm going to be perfect through this, but embracing and being okay with our imperfections, but focusing on us through this journey and not allowing things to be clouded by, we're going to say, comparison judgment, whatever the heck you want to throw it in there, but our own achievements and looking at these things and pushing forward in some really cool way. Because when we focus, when it comes to the performances of like family, friends, coworkers, which is so easy to do, right? Like this person's here doing this, and this person, whether it's what they're giving in a relationship or not giving, whether where they're at work or within your community, we can really become distracted by other people's titles, achievements, lack of achievements, whatever the heck it is. And it's really kind of like if you are in a full marathon, right? And if there's a runner that's constantly looking who's ahead of me, who's on the side of me, who's behind me, it's slowing them down. It's slowing them down, and it's having an impact on what their time is when they come in. Right? And this isn't about timing things in life, but it's the fact of getting where you need to be. We can so easily get caught up in distractions. We can get so easily caught up in comparing ourselves and where we are, where we're not. Nope. It's allowing ourselves to say, yo, I'm going to focus on where I'm at. We could be encouraged and inspired by other people, but when we're constantly looking and we're veering and we're looking, it's taking away, man. It's taking away. It diminishes our focus, and it diminishes our journey and our mindset. Don't do it. And so that also does take discipline. All of these things take discipline. It's beginning to rewire our mindset, because if you've been doing this for 30 years, it's going to be time. It's going to take time. And be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's not saying, well, I've been so hard on myself trying to be perfect. Oh my gosh, I've lost so much time. No, relax. It's a new day, and everything in life is about growing, learning. We certainly don't know everything, and you've made mistakes. Guess what? You're gonna make more, but learning how to just roll with it and begin this kind of new mindset that really can take you to a beautiful place. And it's allowing ourselves to say, I'm not going to be distracted by the things of other people. I'm going to keep my mind and my eyes on where I need to go. And it's not going to be perfect, and that's all right. That's okay. And it's okay to accept and to give encouragement to other people. The distraction end of it becomes more of like when it's that comparison. And where am I going? And we become distracted, and our mind's in a million places, and we're not in the game. And we're not allowing ourselves to just, one of the coolest things I used to love with running, just kind of absorbing in a beautiful way the things around me, whether it's a sunrise, sunset, the beach, the changing of leaves. That's different than being distracted by the people around me of where I'm falling short or I'm ahead. That's not what it's about. It's about experiences, enjoying that ride, the experiences, and with it, acknowledging the fact, I'm imperfect. That's okay. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. And it's being kind of comfortable with that. It's a pretty cool thing. Giving ourselves permission to be imperfect. Boom, it's beautiful. And knowing with that has the ability to improve our quality of life. So if you're on that pursuit, I'd love you to check out this video. I'd love for you to subscribe and to continue with this journey.